Letter 8. To the Honourable Daines Barrington, Selborne, December 20th, 1770. Dear Sir, the birds that I took for aberdavines were reed sparrows, passeres torquati. There are doubtless many home internal migrations within this kingdom that want to be better understood. Witness those vast flocks of hen chaffinches that appear with us in the winter with hardly any cocks among them. Now, was there a due proportion of each sex, it should seem very improbable that any one district should produce such numbers of these little birds, and much more when only half of the species appears. Therefore, we may conclude that the fringilles celebes, for some good purposes, have a peculiar migration of their own in which the sexes part. Nor should it seem so wonderful that the intercourse of sexes in this species of birds should be interrupted in winter, since in many animals, and particularly in bucks and does, the sexes herd separately, except at the season when commerce is necessary for the continuance of the breed. For this matter of the chaffinches, see Fauna Suecica, page 85, and Systema Naturae, page 318. I see every winter vast flights of hen chaffinches, but none of cocks. Your method of accounting for the periodical motions of the British singing birds, or birds of flight, is a very probable one, since the matter of food is a great regulator of the actions and proceedings of the brute creation. There is but one that can be set in competition with it, and that is love. But I cannot quite acquiesce with you in one circumstance when you advance that, when they have thus feasted, they again separate into small parties of 5 or 6, and get the best fare they can within a certain district, having no inducement to go in quest of fresh-turned earth. Now, if you mean that the business of congregating is quite at an end from the conclusion of wheat sowing to the season of barley and oats, it is not the case with us, for larks and chaffinches, and particularly linnets, flock and congregate as much in the very dead of winter as when the husbandman is busy with his ploughs and the harrows. Sure, there can be no doubt but that woodcocks and fieldfares leave us in the spring, in order to cross the seas, and to retire to some districts more suitable to the purpose of breeding. That the former pair before they retire, and that the hens are forward with egg, I myself, when I was a sportsman, have often experienced. It cannot indeed be denied, but that now and then we hear of It cannot indeed be denied, but that now and then we hear of a woodcock's nest, or young birds, discovered in some part or other of this island. But then they are always mentioned as rarities, and somewhat out of the common course of things. But as to redwings and fieldfares, no sportsman or naturalist has ever yet, that I could hear, pretended to have found the nest or young of those species in any part of these kingdoms. And I the more admire at this instance as extraordinary, since, to all appearance, the same food in summer as well as in winter might support them here, which maintains their congeners, the blackbirds and thrushes, did they choose to stay the summer through. From hence it appears that it is not food alone which determines some species of birds with regard to their stay or departure. Fieldfares and redwings disappear sooner or later, according as the warm weather comes on earlier or later, For I well remember, after that dreadful winter of 1739 to 1740, that cold northeast winds continued to blow on through April and May, and that these kinds of birds, what few remained of them, did not depart as usual, but were seen lingering about till the beginning of June. The best authority that we can have for the nidification of the birds above mentioned in any district is the testimony of faunists that have written professedly the natural history of particular countries. Now, as to the fieldfare, Linnaeus, in his Fauna Suecica, says of it that maximus in arboribus nidificat, and of the redwing he says in the same place that nidificat in medis arbusculus siv sebibus, ova sex carulio viridia maculus nigris varis. Reader's note. It nests in the tallest trees, and it nests in middle-sized bushes or hedges, and it lays 6 eggs, blue-green in color with black spots. Both translations courtesy of Peter Yearsley of LibriVox. End note. Hence, we may be assured that fieldfares and redwings breed in Sweden. Scopoli says, in his Annus Primus, of the woodcock that nupta ad nos venit circa equinoctium vernale, meaning in Tyrol, of which he is a native. Reader's note. It comes to us already mated around the spring equinox. Translation Peter Yearsley. End note. And afterwards he adds nidificat in paludibus alpinus ova ponit three to 5. Reader's note. It nests in alpine swampy woodland, laying from 3 to 5 eggs. Translation Peter Yearsley. End note. It does not appear from Kramer that woodcocks breed at all in Austria, but he says, Avis hec septentrionalium provinciarium estivo tempore incola est, ubi plerumque nidificat. Apropinquante Jaime Australiores provincias petit, hinc circa plenilunium mensis octobris plerumque Austrium transmigrat. Tunc russus circa plenilunium potassimum mensis Marti per Austrium matrimonio juncta ad septentrinales provincias reddit. Reader's note. The bird inhabits northern parts in the summer, where it breeds in large numbers. With the approach of winter, it seeks southern countries from where it crosses Austria in large numbers at the October full moon. Again, if possible, around the time of March, full moon, it comes back again through Austria, already mated to the northern parts. Translation Peter Yearsley. End note. For the whole passage, which I have abridged, see Elenchus, etc., page 351. This seems to be a full proof of the migration of woodcocks, though little is proved concerning the place of breeding. P.S. There fell in the county of Rutland, in 3 weeks of this present very wet weather, 7.5 inches of rain, which is more than has fallen in any 3 weeks for these 30 years past in that part of the world. A mean quantity in that county 1 year is 20.5 inches.